coming into this conference this weekend, I wasn't quite sure what to expect, honestly. I've gotten to meet a lot of new people and really experience a bunch of different corners of America, of the Breadloaf Network, all coming in one place.
It was great to see different backgrounds, all different cultures coming together to do the same thing.
What's going on here, the youth coming together, exchanging ideas, coming to some place like this is life-changing. The passion to bring change is there, so they just need our guidance to help mold this, because we have to go home on the ground and we have to put these ideas in action.
What we're going to talk about now is cross-site communication, and this is really important because while we're building each other up as leaders, it's also important that we establish a foundation of support.
We are at the second year of the Navajo Nation Writing Conference. There's 6 sites total, but we're wanting to expand across the rest of the nation. We can go across the world, so this is something that's huge. It's amazing.
These 6 sites from across the country are here together. People from black communities in Atlanta and the poor areas of South Carolina and the countryside of Vermont and Lawrence, Massachusetts and Sierra Vista and southern Arizona, and then the different schools from the Navajo Nation. People with different backgrounds, urban areas and rural areas, people from different cultures and languages and races and ethnicities. And it brings me back to this idea that Dixie Goswami talks about. She says, we need to communicate across differences intentionally for a purpose. For me to actually see young people, their teachers and educators and foundations and schools and Navajo Nation leadership coming together and address critical social issues, to fight for social causes and to work together as professors and authors and as writers, as young people learning to do things, just for them to work together. That's amazing.
I think it's important that this particular community of young people are diverse. The theme of the conference is to think across differences. And in our divisive era now in America, it's so important for us to bring together a diverse set of young people so they can see their common interests and their common joys and their common hopes. One of the things that drew the Ford Foundation to this work is that Breadloaf and the Breadloaf Teacher Network and the work among young people has started a long time ago. Breadloaf and Middlebury has been at this in terms of building networks for over 30 years. What we're simply doing is investing in the next phase of that work, which of course means that we want to be able to invest and connect young people across different communities, and also to go beyond that and to continue to connect this group of young people with an even larger movement of young people who are really working very hard to make their communities a better place to live, to make their states a better place to live, and to make their country and their world a better place to live.
The Ford Foundation support has networked Middlebury Breadloaf School of English through these projects that have been going on for decades, but it's only now with the vision of Doug and the support of the Ford Foundation that we've really come to make it an opportunity for you all, for the youth, to really show your stuff through this network. So thanks to everyone for organizing this, and especially to you all who've made it possible.
The Breadloaf Teacher Network has enjoyed for several years a wonderful partnership with COPE and the Navajo Community Health Outreach Program. They have taught us a great deal about youth leadership programs, and this conference is a direct result of that mentoring. Emily Ellis, Casey Long, Dr. Sonia Shin are all integral parts of making this event possible.
So there's a risk in actually getting it out there in the world. And that risk could be, if you share it with somebody you know, or it could be sharing it with people that you don't know, like publishing it, getting
it out there on the radio. In 2015, a partnership was established between COPE and the Navajo Community Health Outreach Youth Leadership Program. And Dr. Sonia Shin noted that we would be insightful voices as well as conduits of understanding. Those were Dr. Shin's famous words in 2015, and they ring true today at this Hózhó Hane writing conference.
I'm most familiar with our Navajo people and how they speak our traditional language. So the youth organizations here on the reservation, I was most comfortable with that. But expanding into other communities that aren't Native is totally new. I didn't know how really to assert myself in that situation. I think all of us were learning together. For the other sites, learning how to work with a Native community, and for us Native students to learn to communicate with non-Native communities. That's something that I don't think any of us were planning or expecting.
Relevant in the way that we are not alone, and relevant in the way that we will not be forgotten.
Nice. Thank you for sharing.
To be here today with all the people here in Window Rock is a very special gift to me, as well as to everyone here. I'm soaking up so much wisdom from the young people here. They are wise well beyond their years, and we need to listen to them and hear what they have to say.
Cross-site visits, these are kind of special. It's like this, what we're doing now, conferences. I've been lucky enough to be an attendant at every site, except for South Carolina. I haven't been there. But this has actually been a very long journey. It started my sophomore year, and before I knew it, I was in Vermont with a whole group of kids from all over the country.
My team is working on climate change and its effect on the maple syrup industry in Vermont.
The Vermont What's the Story Youth, I think, is particularly powerful because it's this chance for these young people who are looking at issues that are impacting their communities to talk to other young people from different parts of the country, from different racial and ethnic backgrounds, and to see where there are commonalities in the issues that are arising in their communities and how they can draw upon one another's work to enact the social change that they are seeking to make in their own spaces.
The future of BLTN and NGLN, the NextGen students, depends quite a lot on their ability to create, sustain, and spread a narrative. Rex spoke very movingly in his Hogan address today about the fact that Navajo stories, which are crucial to the culture, are not static, but rather dynamic. So I don't mean when I say NextGen needs to create a narrative that it needs to be a one-size-fits-all rote, we're going to say this over and over and over and over again. That's not what I mean. I mean more in the Navajo spirit of flexible, dynamic stories, but a message about how they see youth leadership impacting this country. And that is the message that is still being crafted, but that needs to go out really not just from the teachers, but more from the students, student to student to student, school to school to school.
With my interest trying to help educate others as well as continuing to educate myself, I think that goes along well with the goals and the work that we've been doing with Next Generation Leadership Network.
By hearing about some of the different issues that other young people are experiencing in their communities, one of the things that really does for the Vermont youth, for Navajo youth, from South Carolina and Lawrence, it helps them develop a wider perspective where they can understand, even if those issues aren't pertinent in their particular community.
We're all willing to grow together. It has been great, a great support system.